Hi, I'm Barbara Smith, the author of The Recycling Occupational Therapist and the website recyclingot.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to make a pegboard that I call the water bottle pegboard. It's made out of cardboard boxes and these bottles, and there's little plastic pieces inside that swirl around are interesting to look at. And they go in and out like this. As you can see, the bottles fit in more securely than in a typical toddler's pegboard. They don't get knocked over as easily, so it's less frustrating for a toddler that's just learning how to use a pegboard. There's 6 of them that I have going across. I can go across 6 holes like this. Babies typically learn how to place one peg in a pegboard around between 12 and 15 months. An older toddler, between 16 and 19 months, learns how to place all 6 pegs in a pegboard. Now, using an adapted pegboard such as this makes it easier to teach a child how to do this activity because the pegs are larger, they're easy to grasp, and they're fun to shake and to look at the little pieces swirl around inside. And it's also easier if you're working with a child who has a developmental disability or a motor coordination problem, difficulties. It's just easier to place them in and they stay more easily. This might motivate children with developmental disabilities or children with motor coordination problems who may not be willing to even try a pegboard in the first place because they've experienced with difficulty with grasp. So to make this, I started out collecting these boxes. These are actually from a liquor store, but you can get boxes that are used to hold beer or to hold soda. You get 2 boxes that are the same size, and one is squeezed inside the other. Even though they're the same size, it's going to take a bit of a squeeze. There we go. Okay, so here we go. And this is quite a sturdy box. Boxes can vary in height. This is a bit higher than this pegboard, and therefore when the pegs go inside, they'll be more secure. And I'll demonstrate that. Here's another box. It's about the same height as that one. So when I put the peg inside here, this peg will be much more secure than this peg over here. So you may want to start out using a deeper pegboard such as this one. And then as the child develops more skills, you can try one that's a little more challenging because these will fall out more easily. Now you'll notice also that this bottle is round and this bottle is somewhat rectangular. These are bottles that I use, they hold saline water used for contact lenses. And I started using these round ones. They're sold by the Unisol 4 brand. And I used to buy the CVS water bottles that were the same size as these, but now CVS has bottles that are more rectangular shaped. And they're a little bit smaller. So you can make another type of pegboard that uses this type of bottle, and it'll be more challenging, visually, perceptually more challenging, because the child would have to fit it in either this way or this way. If you make the holes larger and they fit in more easily, that's a little easier than making the holes more snug, such as in that situation. But you could see visually, perceptually, here the child would have to think. Can't go in like that, it has to be rotated to fit in. Or this way, can't fit in. If you hold it this way, it has to be rotated so it fits just right. It's much like fitting a complex shape inside a form board. This is more challenging. I think a child 3 years or older would use a pegboard such as this, or children with developmental disabilities who are older, 4, 5, 6, older kids, even adults might enjoy doing an activity like this, starting out using round pegs, and as skill develops, using a more challenging board such as this, which requires greater visual perceptual skills. So how do we make these bottles in the first place? I remove the label by soaking it and just scraping it off. Then I snipped off the top using these type of scissors. I made the opening just a bit larger so I could insert little plastic pieces inside, but don't make it too large or you won't be able to screw this cap back on. If you're working with children or adults who might put things in their mouth, make sure you attach this, secure this in place with duct tape or tie something around it so the cap doesn't come off. And then I just cut little pieces of plastic, such as this, into tiny little pieces in this way. And then they fit through that opening. I use all different colors. Secure the top in place. Just shake them, and they're fun to look at. So we have a nice motivational sensory experience just by having these bottles. But we can also look at some other sensory components to make this activity more motivating and more fun. Some children and adults with developmental disabilities really benefit from adding a sensory component. For example, I use this squiggly wiggly writer that's motorized. It's meant for, it usually has a pen point here and you write with it. I removed the pen point. Then I made a hole in my box. Made a hole over here. I put some Velcro on this toy, and I put some more Velcro inside so I can attach it just like that. Now the entire box is motorized and the whole thing is vibrating. It's kind of interesting to just use the whole box as it is. Many children and adults with developmental disabilities are just motivated by the sound of the motor. Children love the sound of the motor. Put your hands on here and you can feel it vibrating, and just having them work on the activity, placing the bottles while the board is vibrating, provides a sensory component. And just turn this off so I'm not distracted while I'm talking to you. Another adaptation is music, and I use these music switches. They're small, as you can see. They're sold in craft stores. They're just little round button switches. The part that activates the music is recessed a bit, and I built it up with pieces of Velcro, or you could just tape some foam onto it. You have to build it up because otherwise, when it's recessed and you have a large surface pressing down on it, it wouldn't activate the recessed part. But now that I have it built up, if you have something this size and you press down on it, it will activate the switch. So you can take a box that you're going to be using, put a little piece of Velcro inside, attach the switch, and then when you put your box together and have it all made, that song is still playing, so while it's playing, I'm just going to tell you, you can decorate your box in any way you want. You can cover it with contact paper. You can just keep it white if you want. You may choose to create color contrast around the holes that they're going to be inserting the bottles into. Okay, the music stopped, so now I'm just going to show you. Let's pretend this is the pegboard you're going to be using. You'll have as many holes as you want. This probably would work out well with 6 holes. Then, as they insert the bottle, it activates the music. So you can have the vibrating reinforcer, you can have the music reinforcer, you can have different music switches for different songs. A lot of this depends on what reinforcement works really well for the particular child or adult that you're working with. In any case, keep in mind that keep adding a sensory component to the whole activity makes everything a lot more fun, and that's the goal, making the activities fun so that your clients will want to do them, will be motivated, and will learn. Thank you.